It's the Prison News Podcast on Spreaker. Greetings and welcome to the broadcast, Prison News. I'm your host. What we have now, we're just finishing up McGuffey's readers. These are the readers used in the old days for inmate children or even prisoners. It was a no-nonsense way where kids were told stories, or inmates for that matter. They were expected to take a piece of chalk and a slate and write some things down, listen to some poetry. In those days, manly kind of poetry, not, flowers and stuff, but it's not somewhat flowers, yeah. And then take another lesson over and over again until they learned how to read, they learned how to write, do some rudimentary arithmetic, and most importantly, they learned how to behave. I'm going to go ahead and read one here called The Lion. That's from McGuffey's fourth eclectic reader. The Lion. The lion is often called the king of beasts. His height varies from 3 to 4 feet. He's from 6 to 9 feet long. Now, his coat is of yellow, brownish, or a tawny color. It goes about his neck is a great shaggy mane, which gives his head a majestic appearance. The strength of the lion is so great that he can easily crush the skulls of such animals as the horse or ox with one blow of his paw. No one who has not seen the teeth of a full-grown lion taken out of their sockets can have any idea of the real size of these forms, of these handful of these teeth. The home of the lion is in the forest of Asia and Africa, where he is a terror to man and beast. Now, he generally lies concealed during the day, but as darkness comes in, he prowls about where other animals are accustomed to go for food or drink, and springs upon them unawares with a roar that sounds like the rumble of thunder. The lion sometimes lives to a great old age. One by a lion by the name of Pompey died in London in the year 1760 at the age of 75 years old. Now, if taken when they're young, lions can be tamed, and they'll show even extreme kindness to their keepers. In fact, in the menagerie in Brussels, there was a cell where a large lion named Danko used to be kept. Now, it so happened that the cell was in need of repair, and the keeper, who had been with Danko all these years, the lion, his name was William, and he wanted a carpenter to come over and get this thing fixed up inside the cell. The carpenter came, but he was so afraid of the lion that he wouldn't go near the cell alone. So William, he entered the cell and led the lion over to the upper part, where the other part was being refitted at the other end of the cell. Now, William just played with his lion for quite some time, but at last he was kind of tired out, so both he and the lion fell asleep. Now the carpenter went on with his work, and when he had finished, he called out for William, "Hey, come over, see this." He called again and again, but no William answered. Now the poor carpenter began to be frightened. He thought the lion had probably made dinner out of the keeper, or else even crushed the keeper with his great paws. So the carpenter crept around the corner and looked over the upper part of the cell, and saw there, looking at him through the railing, he saw the lion and William sleeping side by side as contentedly as two little brothers. He was so astonished that he uttered a loud cry. The lion, awakened by the noise, stared at the carpenter with an eye of fury, then placing his paw on the breast of his keeper as if to say, "Touch him if you dare." The heroic beast lay down to sleep again. Now the carpenter was dreadfully alarmed. He didn't know what he could do to rouse William, the guy, so he ran out and related what he'd seen to the workers. Now the people finally came back in, and upon opening the door of the cell, they tried to awaken the keeper. He kind of got up, rubbing his eyes, yawning, quietly looked around him. He expressed himself very satisfied with his nap. He took the lion's paw and shook it, and then retired uninjured from the cell. Now, at this point, the inmates are told to define the definitions of words like majestic, unawares, and wild animal. Then they have to listen to this kind of a rap-styled poetry. It's written in 1827. That's kind of where some of this stuff was going on. I read, "Little pearl honeydew, 6 years old, from her bright ear parted the curls of gold, and laid her head on the strawberry bed to hear what the little red cheek strawberry said. Their cheeks were blushing, their breath was sweet, she could almost hear their little hearts beat. And the tiniest lisping, whispering sound that you ever heard came up from the ground. 'Little friends,' she said I wish I knew. How is it that you thrive on sun and dew? And this is the story the berries told to little Pearl Honeydew, 6 years old. You wish you knew, and so do we, but we can't tell you unless it be that the same kind power that cares for you takes care of us poor little berries too. Tucked up snugly and nestled below, are covered of wind, proven woven snow. We peep and listen all winter long for the first day and the bluebird's song. When the swallows fly home to the old brown shed, and the robins build on the bough overhead, then out from the mold, from the darkness and cold, blossom and runner and leaf unfold. Good children then, if they come near, and hearkening along while may hear a wonderful trampling of little feet, so fast we grow in the summer's heat. Our clocks are the flowers, and they count the hours till we can mellow in the sun and showers. With warmth of the west wind and heat of the south, a ripe red berry for a ripe red mouth. Apple blooms whiten and peach blooms fail, and roses are gay by the garden while. Ere the daisy's dial gives the sign that we may invite a little Pearl to dine. The days are longest, the month is June, the year is nearing its golden moon. The weather is fine, and our feast is spread with a green cloth and the berries red. Just take us betwixt your finger and thumb, and quick, oh quick, for see that we come. Tom on all fours, and Martin the man, and Margaret picking berries as fast as they can. Oh dear, if you only knew how it shocks nice berries like us to be sold by the box. Well, there it is, folks. It's a long, I just can't read the whole thing here. It's a long thing these guys had to get straight. And it was believed that hearing poetry like that created an orderliness of mind. In other words, you thought about what you heard, you psychologically, you will try to guess the nuances, or maybe even guess what the next word's going to be. This is my first exposure to old poetry like this from these old textbooks. Now, at this point, the inmates had to talk a little bit about how these berries grew. Now, folks, what I'm going to do right now, we're going to go ahead and sign off here. What I would like to do is take just a moment. I'd like to share with you a little bit of information about prison tattoos, inmate tattoos, things like that. I just did another broadcast here a while back for the other show called Anchor. And when I was doing that, it was very interesting. A lot of these inmates get picture tattoos of dragons, like a dragon's being cast out, or fallen angels are being cast out, or darkness and things like that. So what I did a quick word search in the Bible, and only 5 verses out of the entire Bible, 1,189 chapters, only 5 verses have the word devil and cast, like cast out or something. And I thought I'd read that as we get down, just 5 quick verses here, it won't take but a minute, as we relate that to these inmate tattoos, of these inmates getting dark angels and devils and spider webs and stuff tattooed on them. First one, and these are in order, by the way, is found in the Bible. I read, "And when the devil was cast out, the dumb spake, and the multitudes marveled, saying, It was never seen so in Israel." Next, "The woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician by nation, and she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter." Next, now this is Jesus speaking, words in red. "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." Next, now we get down to the dragon. "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." Now, just bear in mind the first sentence, folks. 2 people get cast out in the first sentence, called the devil and Satan. Okay, next is the very last time it's found, Revelation 20:10. I read, "And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever." So this was kind of interesting. If you've heard any of the research about prison tattoos and some of the symbiology of it, that and these verses, seems to be maybe a little bit of a link there. Well, folks, take care. God bless you. What are you going to do if an inmate gets a hold of a gun? Just that quick. He can fire that thing and something can happen. You can find yourself either waking up in the promised land or maybe waking up somewhere else. If you're not, listen one more time. Just that fast. A shot, it doesn't even have to be aimed at you. It can ricochet off somewhere and hit you in the heart or sever an artery. You could go anytime. If you get a chance, at least read the good Bible cover to cover once in your life. See if let the Bible and the Holy Spirit speak to you by themselves. I don't care what you've heard. I don't care what you've been. I don't care what the pastor said, any of this good old stuff. If you're not born again, read the Bible one time cover to cover and then intellectually say, you know what? This isn't for me. That stuff about the lake of fire, I'm fine with. I'm down with that. The dragon and the sweeping tails and burning in this place doesn't matter to me. Okay, fair enough. But at least give your chance to maybe say, like thousands of others have said, you know, Jesus Christ really was God, not just some guy we celebrate kind of on the holidays or Christmas. And I'm not sure exactly how he was convinced to get on that cross, except he was trying to obey God the Father. And the stuff about him being whipped, that wasn't enough for him. They had to put thorns on his head, more blood. That wasn't enough for him. They had to hit thump, 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 and pound the nails in his hands. They still couldn't get enough. Now his feet, then what happens? They still couldn't take it. He couldn't give anymore, so they stuck a spear in his side. How much more does a man have to do to prove to you that he came down here for a reason? And you don't need to give money. You don't need to even say thank you to me. You don't need to subscribe, nothing. At least say, okay, what did Jesus Christ do? How do I turn this thing around in my life and get born again? Give it a try. Give it a try. Taste and see that the Lord is good. If not, you know what? Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you want to get into the highway to hell and that music. Hey, it's out there for you. But I at least want to encourage you. I want to greatly and respectfully encourage you. Remember, just that quick your life could be over. Or you could end up in prison like this prison bell is going to tell us. Time for us to leave. Folks, thanks for stopping by. Do take it seriously. It's time to sell back in for some prisoners, and for others, it's time to get back to work.